Hi, I'm Ernie Zore, and I'm here with my friend Larry Housel, and we welcome you to the Puritas Springs Software YouTube channel.
And in case you're wondering what happened to last month's video, well, we had to skip it. It's just been a really busy summer, and with these tax forms coming up, we decided to just keep our nose to the grindstone. So, this is number 81 in our FAQ series, and we're glad you have joined us. And we're going to talk about Form 706, which after several years has finally gotten substantially revised.
Now, one of the first things you'll notice about the app is that it sports the new Puritas Springs Software look with the ribbon replacing the old menu system.
That's right, so no more tree view down the left side of the screen.
Now, while the 706 app may look a bit different from prior year's versions, the ribbon won't throw you off. It should still look familiar if you've ever used Microsoft products like Word, for example.
Yeah, we've been rolling it out to all the new versions of our programs. So Ohio Adoption Forms, Franklin and Cuyahoga Probate Forms, anything that we've updated, we've added the new ribbon interface.
And the big deal here is that we've pulled all the important commands out of those hidden drop-down menus, and we made them more accessible by putting them on the ribbon. So there's no more hunting through menus looking for a command.
Plus, without that forms list down the left side of the screen, we now have more room to work on the actual forms.
Well, let's start with a quick walkthrough of the ribbon itself before we dive into completing a few forms.
All right, so let's start with the home ribbon. This is where you're going to find all the usual file management stuff: open, save, print, exit, all the stuff that's commonly part of any program that you're going to own.
In fact, there's a separate ribbon for each of the commands on the menu bar, and you can always tell what ribbon you're on because the tab is in all caps. It's subtle but helpful.
Nice. So, before we move on, can you say a couple things about the refresh item and paging and override commands? Because those are always mainstays.
Yeah, you know, they're all here. The refresh button is it's visible now.
But the paging and override would show up there to the right of the tutorials.
Right, they're dynamic and they're not there all the time. In fact, the next button is here right now because it's hard to tell a little bit, but the prior is grayed out because there's no page before page 1. But if you click on next, that would take you to page 2. And these buttons appear wherever there's multiple pages, and that's not all the time, but most of the time you'll see these paging buttons. And then, Larry, you also asked about the refresh button. That basically, there's a lot of calculations, and sometimes you'd be jumping from form to worksheet, and you just want to make sure that everything that you typed in is updated all the other areas, and so that's what the refresh button is. You can watch now. See, I got both the prior and next.
Oh, because we're on
I'm going to go.
now.
Yeah, I'm going to go back. That's page 1 again, and what was I going to do?
So
I was going to show you the refresh button. You don't see it do much. It's just recalculating every single form and schedule in the program.
If you go to part 2 again, I thought I saw an editable line down. Yeah, so under signatures, the name of the executor.
Here.
If you click there, that'll bring up the override button.
Oh, yeah, that's right, Larry. And I guess what you're saying is that they're dynamic, and so they'll disappear. Like, let's go off of it. They're disappeared, but you go back to these light blue colored fields,
Right.
and there they appear again.
Because we don't want them showing up for things that can't be overridden, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. So to the left of the Home tab is File, which again is like what you'd see in Word, where you're going to open, save as. You know the drill.
Right. And what's unique about the File ribbon compared to the Home ribbon is the fact that the File ribbon has a super convenient drop-down list of your most recently opened files. I use that all the time. Here, I'll show you. Oh, there was only one, the test file.
Oh, right, because you haven't used too many. But if there were, you'd see all those lists.
Right. I think it'll hold up to 9.
Okay. And along the same lines of bringing up different forms, if you go to the right of the Home button, that's the Display tab. And that's going to be where you're going to want to go to access all the forms. Like I said, to replace the tree view on the old software.
Right, Larry. And also, if you noticed, it's convenient to be able to go to the forms. So maybe we don't want it just on the display menu. You'll see in the Home, there's a display right here with access to everything. This is really like the old display menu from before when we were using the ribbon. And the difference with the display menu or the display ribbon is that we've broken them apart so you don't have to drill down, so to speak, to get to it. They all exist as separate items.
Very nice. All right, and so moving along the top a little further, we get to our options and tools.
Options and tools.
This is where you're going to be able to set up some custom stuff or force word, just some troubleshooting tools for the most part.
Right, and Larry, I don't think we need to spend much time. Let's see that prior and next is showing up because they're just handy to have. But I started to say that I don't think we're going to need to discuss too much on this. Aside from the overriding, which we already mentioned, these are kind of, like you said, troubleshooting things, and we could probably move right on to the help.
Yeah, the help tab. And that's where you'll find a link to the video you're watching right now. And some of our other troubleshooting or help tools like the manual, our AI tool, our AI assistant that you'll be able to load up and help topics.
That's my favorite.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so nice to have a little AI Ernie.
Yeah. Let's move on with some sample facts. I was going to open up the sample file, but I think it'd be better to just do it one from scratch so you can see everything. So I'm going to go to the home page. I didn't really have to go to the home page, but I'll click on prior to go here.
So there's a general, so where do you start with? You start with the worksheets?
Yes, you start with page 1 because, like you were starting to say, the programs that have general information worksheet, this is the counterpart to those, basically.
Yeah.
Same thing. So to see that we could put Joseph wow. And then last name, sample. You see, you're really just going through, and I don't want to go through all of these because you can see what I'm doing. What you can't see is that to go from field to field, we can click on it like that. But you can also tap the tab key. Bang, that'll take you to the next one. And you could also hit the enter key, and that'll take you through to the next one.
Nice. So not a lot. It's very handy when you're just going through putting in information and not have to use the mouse to jump from field to field. So after that, what's the next thing? You're probably going to want to visit the kin worksheet, huh?
That's it, yeah. The 706 program is a pretty flexible app, and you can enter things in any order. I can go to the last page. I can go to schedule Q if I wanted to, but there's a reason to go to the kin worksheet. No, we don't call it the kin. We call it the beneficiary / co-tenant worksheet. Here it is. The reason we recommend this is that what you put into the beneficiary worksheet will populate the distributees and co-tenants and fields on the asset worksheet. So it's handy, and if you don't do it, you're going to end up having to come back to it before you could fill out the asset worksheet anyway. So it makes sense to go here first.
Yeah, that's right. And that's good practice at the very least. So you want to, maybe we can show them real quick an example.
All right. Yeah, here's I'm on the worksheet right now. And the top of the screen, the top half, I guess, just about, is where you'll enter each party's information. And when you're done with the first one, I'll put one in here. In fact, let's just put a company in there. Oh. Cap lock.
I see you're using tabs to hop between fields.
Yes.
Nice.
Okay, so there's one in there, and I guess the thing that I wanted to show you is that you would use the Add button to enter a new one. So watch what happens. I'll click on Add, and you see down here we got a brand new entry,
nice.
And you can fill that in up here. Again, I don't think I'm going to bother going through all the fields. There's nothing complicated on here. They're all straightforward. Address, city, state, zip, the relationship to the decedent, social security number.
And then, of course, don't, and most importantly, if you're going to send that person to a form or that company, you check the box right there.
Yep, right over here in the send to, because there's choices that you might have to make, or like 706, page 2, that is asking for a list of all the beneficiaries because it wasn't there years ago, but it is now, and probably there because the IRS wants to track income that is passing to the beneficiaries. So that's the reason for this checkbox. I think it used to be anybody over $5,000 had to be listed by name. If it was under $5,000, they still wanted to know about it, but I don't think you needed to identify the actual beneficiary.
And do you want to mention the add button?
Yeah, I already did that one. Why don't you tell them about the copy row and the paste row? Those are cool.
Those buttons are interesting. So if you have similar entries to make, instead of retyping out everything, you can just do a copy and then edit it in the next row.
Yep, that's very handy, especially if you had a lot of entries that were similar. And finally, the last two buttons, clear and close buttons. The beneficiary worksheet, you got to kind of understand it. It's an overlay. You can't do anything in the program back here. I can't click on, see, whoop, whoop, whoop.
Yeah, there's that sound.
Yep. Until you close this worksheet, you're not going to be able to do anything in the program. And that's why there's a close button. The clear button, that one is a dangerous button, and that's why it has a warning screen attached to it. Basically, that's if let's say you started a new file, you put a couple things in the worksheet, and you thought, oh, no, this is not the way I want to do it. And instead of having to erase your entries one by one, you can click on the clear worksheet button, and it erases everything in the worksheet.
Nice. All right, well, and so we want to start with the beneficiary worksheet, but then once we get some beneficiaries in there, we're going to move along to the assets.
I'll do that for you. There we go.
All right, so same idea. Top half of the screens, you get your functions with the buttons, and then on the bottom half is where you're going to put your information, right?
That's right. And one of the differences, and it's not a very significant difference, but right here in the edit button, you'll notice there's a lot more opportunities to send this information to different places in the return. Whereas the send to amounted to one or two fields in the beneficiary worksheet, but in the asset worksheet, look at this, there's about, 28, 30 different places to which you can send things.
Yeah, so that's why it's kind of broken out in its own separate window there.
Right.
Very important feature, that send to button. Then the edit button?
The edit button, that's for Schedule E. It's like it says. And what you would see there is a list of the beneficiaries that we put in there. And you know what? I'm wondering, Larry, how come they're not showing up? Let's see what it was. I think it's because I didn't check off Schedule E. Let's go back to the beneficiary worksheet. This might be a nice thing to show. ABC Company, let's make that Schedule E and check it off. And Sarah Swanson, okay, we're missing some information, but I'll check off Schedule E for that one just to see if they show up. So we'll close the worksheet, and then we will, where am I going? Asset worksheet. And we'll pull down E. Hey, there they are. Go. Pretty cool, huh?
Yeah.
And all you got to do is highlight them, click, and tell them, if it's a 25% or 50-50, you would put the percentage includable in there like that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it.
Very nice.
Now, I didn't put any values in or describe the asset or anything, but that's not really what we were trying to show you anyway. We were trying to show you how the asset worksheet is dependent on the beneficiary worksheet, and that's why Larry advised going there first.
So you can see how these tools are going to really help accelerate your ability to complete Form 706.
Right.
So let's keep going to the next control, and that would be the Schedule J category, and that's a pull-down list, and we don't want to miss that, do we?
I'll pull it down. Just for the excitement.
Funeral expenses, executor fees, attorney fees, things like that are all going to be selected from this drop-down menu.
Yeah, these are the mandatory categories for Schedule J. So if you got something going to Schedule J, It's got to fall into one of these five categories. There's also a schedule, moving right down the list here, there's also a Schedule R button. And that brings up a dialog asking for 4 bits of information that show up on Schedule R. I don't think there's a reason to show you Schedule R right now, this moment, but that you get the idea. That fills it out.
Well, you know what? That's basically it then, isn't it, for the worksheets?
Right.
At the beneficiary, the asset and debt?
Yes. Like you could see, the taxable gift worksheet, the line 7 worksheet, they also have sub-dialogues with little information that you would put in that would be unique to that particular form or worksheet. So, yeah, I agree with you. We kind of covered it here. I don't. There's probably a lot more that we can say, but
just kind of the short and sweet version.
Yeah, or an overview type thing.
So let's move on to just some miscellaneous stuff about the software.
Okay, let's see here. First, let's mention that when you complete the beneficiary and the asset worksheets, most of the rest of the return completes itself.
Whoa.
Schedule A is a great example. There's not a thing to enter on Schedule A. It all flows from the worksheets. And you know, Larry, hold on a second. Let me do this. I'm going to close the worksheet. I'm going to open up the test. I think this is something that users actually have as part of the installation. I won't save the files. Let's just open the test. And the reason I'm doing this is it's a big file, and that's why there's a little pause there.
It's full of every worksheet,
every field on every
schedule.
worksheet.
Yeah.
I wanted to show we have the asset worksheet filled out. Let's see it. Take a quick look at it. Here's your real estate parcels and things like that. Just wanted to show you that they're there. And now let's take a look at Schedule A. And this is, I think, what Larry was saying, is that when you look at it, this thing's completely filled in already. There's nothing for you to do. And all the schedules are like that. That may be an exaggeration, but let me say that most of the fields are like that. For example, I think there's when you go to Schedule F, I believe there's a checkbox or something that has to be checked.
There's a couple things here.
Couple things, right. But for the most part, yeah, there they are. For the most part, the return is practically completed already.
And all the addition and calculations are done as well.
That's right. And just to prove it, let's go down on page 1. Look at that.
Nice.
I don't like to scrutinize the sample or the test file too much because we just put in ridiculous numbers.
Yeah, you don't want to get too deep
if
into
you
that.
start looking at it, you're going to say, wow, okay.
Yeah, I see Narnia on
that
there
doesn't
as a
look
country.
like. Yeah, right,
It's
exactly.
definitely a foreign country.
Uh-huh.
So.
All right.
Well, what else, Ernie? Are there any other
I don't know what I'm building
gems
up.
that you could point
Yeah,
out?
this is one that really applies to just about every application rather, that has a worksheet, and that's Control F for finding things. And I was saying this afternoon that sometimes I get a sample file, and there's, well, like this one, there's probably over 100 entries in this thing. And you could scroll through, it doesn't take that long, but you could also go Control F, and I say, okay, anything. I'm looking for something with the number 51 in it. And continue searching, yes.
Oh, there's one.
Oh, okay, yeah. You know what? I did that too fast. I was actually looking for expense number 51. And,
it found other
really,
51s
yeah, it
in
found
it.
other 51s. In fact, that first one, I went over it so fast I didn't even see it. But yeah, I could see the second one. Continue searching.
Very handy if you get a lot of stuff in these worksheets.
It is, yes. Oh, there it is. Now it stopped.
Yeah, what a nice
if it-
bonus. I bet there's some seasoned users out there that were not aware of that
Yeah,
feature,
someone
so.
sent me something. They must have had 200 stock transactions in there or evaluations or whatever. And, you know, if you want to get to number 199, it's nice to be able to do Control F and just jump to it.
All right, well, what about, I know I touched on it before when I made you back up, but let's just real quick cover these field colors, shall we?
And I'll take the first one. White fields, like you see all on this page, you just complete them, you fill them in yourself.
And that's the same for a lot of blue fields too, right?
I'll try to.
They're
Where
gonna
did
be
you tell? Where
completed.
did you tell me to find that
That's
one?
part
Right here.
2. Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, there it is down here.
So that's completed on basis of what you entered elsewhere. But as we went over before, we do have the ability to override and put whatever information we want in there.
Sure. I'll get on it, and you'll see the override buttons mysteriously appeared. Let's click override, and you wouldn't do it this way, but I'm going to, and I'll say Alice. Her middle initial is X for. What's a woman's name? Xavier? That's a man's name, isn't it? Yeah, all right. Anyway.
What would be a woman's name that starts with X?
But you can see that that's how you override something, and it's in the color red so that you can remember, or that it will be reminding you that this is something that the program did not figure out. You overrode it and supplied your own answer.
That's nice. It's a nice feature to have, so you know that came from you, not from someplace else on a worksheet or something like that. Which brings me to the yellow fields, which are fields that have come from information that you put in on the worksheets or other places in the form. So they're not overridable. If you want to change those, you have to go find the entry that correlates to that data so that you can update it.
Right, and a good example is right here on this page. This line here wants to add 13 through 16, and so the total would be then on line 17.
All right, well, I think that covers the different shades of those entry boxes. We should probably touch on printing, maybe the help menu.
Printing.
Everybody's going to end up printing sooner or later.
Okay, printing, nothing more than hitting the print button. I'll do it right now. And it usually pre-checks anything that you've used. So you see that all these are, okay, evidently we didn't put anything on Schedule F. That one's blank. Schedule I
okay,
is
so
blank.
it'll automatically select the stuff that has information in it.
Right, or if you just want to print out one thing to maybe check it against something else, you can hit Clear All, and I'll just print the Schedule J expenses. But when you print it, this is what it looks like when you print. It's not. What it's doing is it's sending a printable file to your word processor.
And we call that Print Shop Perfect.
Yeah, really, this is looking good.
And it's the newest version of the forms that were just released by the IRS. So you're ready to go with this with this form. Print it and submit it.
Well, hopefully you didn't notice me clean that up real fast. I have a habit of putting the paragraph markers on so I can see them, and it makes the if you're not used to it or if you don't know what it is, it makes the form look a little confusing. But that's the way that is, and also you can view table layout. Don't view the grid lines. There, now all the grid lines are missing. So not missing, but they're gone. So now the form looks pretty much exactly like you would see it on paper.
Yes,
And-
very nice.
And you know what? I have it in page width, and so let me reset page width so that you can see how cool this part is. Which this is something that was never. What am I doing here, Larry?
One page, I think, is what you want.
Oh, page width. Okay.
Yeah.
What I was saying was that. What was I saying?
You were just talking about how now the IRS has decided to include both portrait and landscapes in almost all these forms.
Right, they never did that before, and so look how nice the program does that. It shows you the portrait and joins the landscape in the same print job. So that's really cool. Mm-hmm. And they didn't do that before in prior years, but it's nice for it to work like this. I don't know many programs that are able to do this, but I'm sure they're out there.
Maybe somewhere.
Anyway, so
Either way, they don't come with our, sparkling personalities.
yeah, there you go, Larry. I couldn't agree with you more. Well, we know that there's a lot of YouTube videos out there, and they're competing for your attention. So what we want to do at this point is thank you for sharing your precious viewing time with us, and we hope this walkthrough gave you something you can take away.
Yeah, and if it did, you could do us a favor and hit like and subscribe on the video. The more people that like and subscribe to our videos, the more they get out there, and you can kind of share this information with others.
Also, if you've got questions, suggestions, or even want to say hi,
Yeah.
Keep your comments to yourself. No, I made that part up. I was going to say drop a comment below. We'll be happy. We read every one of them. We really do, and we answer them.
Absolutely. We love the comments. And thanks again for choosing Puritas Springs Software. We appreciate your trust.
So until next time, be well organized and keep those probate forms and tax returns print shop perfect. Stay safe, happy, and healthy.
Nice.